Nate, vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris campaigned in Texas last week. She says they're putting a lot of resources into the state. Could Democrats really win Texas? Because I feel like I hear that every 2 years and it never really happens. But then I see how hard Republicans are trying to keep people from voting in Texas. And I think, gee, maybe there is something going on there. So what's going on in Texas?
Well, because we have some hard data now, right? We know that in Texas, you actually have had more people vote than voted in all of 2016, and we know that they're mostly in blue or purple counties. Look, I mean, Beto O'Rourke came within 2 points of winning in 2018, so maybe 2 more years of demographic change could be enough potentially with a very high turnout. It's a tough state to poll. It's tough to reach, for example, Latinos in Texas used to be a bit more purple than Latinos in other states, but I'm not sure we're necessarily getting, for example, enough people near El Paso. But that state is actually, our model thought Texas would shift toward Trump at the end. Instead, the latest polls there show it as a true toss-up. And so, look, you have to take it seriously. People are skeptical about anything until it happens. And Virginia used to be a really red state. Now it's purple or blue. Colorado used to be red. Now it's purple or blue. So you can see these shifts happen at times.
Well, that would be lovely. There's a theory that so-called shy or hidden Trump voters could be distorting the polling because they either don't respond to polls or they aren't candid about supporting Trump. We heard a lot about this in 2016, and people like Michael Moore are worried that the Trump voter is still being undercounted. Have you seen signs of these shy Trump voters and also shy Biden voters, as a matter of fact, while we're talking about it?
I think that may be kind of partly a myth. And there were a couple of issues in 2016 that maybe weren't related to voters not revealing their vote intention. One of them was that at the end of the race that year, you had a lot about Clinton's emails, you had the Comey letter, you had WikiLeaks. So undecided voters may not have been shy. They just kind of said, okay, look at all the bad news about Clinton. I'm going to give Trump a shot. He won undecideds by big margins in Wisconsin, for example, and that was pretty important. The other thing is that polls in 2016 had too many college-educated voters. College-educated people now tend to vote Democratic. They have now found better ways to try to have a more representative sample. And so pollsters are aware of this issue. With that said, you can always miss hard-to-reach voting groups. I think both, in general, it's easier to reach rich people on the phone. So you may not have enough poor white people who would usually vote for Trump. You may also not have enough poor Hispanic and Black people who might vote for Biden potentially. And so polling is an inexact science. It's why the polls can be off by a few points sometimes.
What about the Senate?
The Senate is fairly competitive. You have a 75% chance, roughly, of Democrats winning the Senate. Of course, a lot easier if they were to win the presidency. What's amazing is there are really like 10 or 12 or 14 Senate races that could go either way. There's a good chance that if you live in the state, that your vote could make a difference this year. What we probably would see, though, in the end, though, is the Senate and the presidency aligning. For example, if Joe Biden wins Iowa, then they might pick up the Senate seat there, but maybe not if Joe Biden loses Iowa. There's not a lot of split ticket voting anymore. One case that's very important is Georgia, because we have actually 2 Senate races on the ballot this year in Georgia. So that's one of the most important states of all is Georgia this year.
Well, thank you, Nate. I wish we had more time because I wanted to talk to you about all these magical black men that are voting for President Trump. But we'll be anxiously awaiting your remarks tomorrow. Thanks to 538's Nate Silver.